Welcome to week 4 of the VG Casters Cup. I'm Jake, the captain of the 5-move Volcaronas, and this week we're going up against Lou, the European Go and VG caster, and her team, the Gmax Gastrodons. Now, I've lost the last 2 weeks. We're trying to turn that around. This is an important one. I want to get that momentum back in the positive direction. So I had to put a little more thought into my team building this week. The last couple weeks are in the same 6 Pokemon with some different sets, but I was really busy with some travel, some work stuff, and so now I had a little bit more time for some thinking, and that thinking led to a team that you are seeing on the left. If that looks like Dugtrio and his 4 ground immune friends, you are exactly right. I noticed that Lou's team had a little bit of a difficult time against Dugtrio. There's a lot of Pokemon weak to ground. There's only the 2 Pokemon that are immune to Arena Trap, and the Dragonite and Jumpluff. And I figured if I could get some Dugtrio Earthquakes going, deal with the Jumpluff and Dragonite in other ways, I would have a pretty good shot here. So let's jump into the team for this week. Of course, Talonflame. I don't know that I'm ever going to not bring Talonflame. It is a very powerful Pokemon in a format like this where you have a lot of options. Tailwind is always going to be really important. This time around, I am running these safety goggles. If you look at Lou's team over on the right, she does have 2 Rage Powder / Sleep Powder Spore Pokemon in the form of Jumpluff and Amoonguss. Especially Amoonguss, I think, is a really important Pokemon to have options against here. So I wanted to make sure I had that safety goggles in conjunction with Taunt. Brave Bird, Will-O-Wisp, Tailwind, Taunt, pretty standard support Talonflame moveset here. I believe I am outspeeding Ninetales. I don't know if I made sure I outsped Jumpluff with this Talonflame, because I don't think I respected Jumpluff too much here, and especially with the priority Tailwind with the goggles taunt. I think I just kind of gave myself the leeway to somewhat ignore the Jumpluff in my team building, because the Sun mode is decent here, but the Jumpluff part of it isn't necessarily. I've got Talonflame is really good into it. Hydreigon's very good into Sun. I have Altaria with Cloud9 to kind of cancel some of the Sun stuff. And of course, Golden Go just kind of completely invalidates Jumpluff, which you do see I didn't bring again, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So I just kind of went with this pretty standard Talonflame set. Next up is one of the more, I guess, spicy picks here. I do have Vivian, as usual, but if you see the item there, it is Life Orb. So again, looking at Lou's team, the coverage that Vivian provides is actually pretty cool. Life Orb, it's Compound Eyes Hurricane in this case. That hits almost everything neutrally, and the things it doesn't hit neutrally, like the Stonjourner or the Pikachu or Glimmora, all get hit very hard by Energy Ball. Specifically, Energy Ball was a tech I had in mind for Gastrodon. I thought Gastrodon might be a little bit difficult to deal with as well, and Energy Ball hits that pretty. Of course, with the Life Orb, it'll be knocked out in one hit without some kind of Terra or like Rindo Berry or whatever. So I thought it might be nice to have that as an option. I do have a Azumarill as well. I wanted the chance to kind of clear out the Storm Drain, so Azumarill was a little bit more free to attack. I considered a third attack here. Like, Pollen Puff is always all right. I briefly thought about Terra Ground, Terra Blast for like Pikachu, Glimmora, but again, I felt those weren't necessarily worth like teching for, especially because if my game plan is going to rely around Dugtrio, they're just going to get wiped out by Earthquake anyway. So I went with Sleep Powder just in case I needed to kind of buy a turn. There may have been something more optimal there. I did consider Quiver Dance. That maybe was something I should have gone with to get a little bit more power. Attack before Dragonite if it gets a Scale Shot boost. So that is something I was going back and forth on, but I ended up going with Sleep Powder just to give myself that pretty accurate sleep. I think it's somewhere in the 90% in Sleep Powder here. And of course, Hurricane being, I want to say 91 is the number with Compound Eyes. So pretty good accuracy on Hurricane. I think Life Orb Hurricane has a decent shot to one-shot Amoonguss as well, depending on how it's trained. So this was a pretty cool idea I had that I was happy to put into action. Of course, the star of the show here, though, is the Dugtrio. Again, just looking at Lou's team, there's a lot of Pokemon weak to ground. There's only the 2 flying types, Jumpluff and Dragonite, and the rest is either neutral or weak to ground. And so I figured we're just going to go full force. Choice Band, Terra Ground to Dugtrio. We've got the Earthquake here. I think that's the move I'm going to be using the most. If I'm using something else, it's because I've maybe been backed into a corner and I'm not in a great position to go for those earthquakes. Because, again, best case, I'm able to just use a bunch of earthquakes, deal with Dragonite Jumpluff in another way, which you'll see kind of some text for, specifically with the Azumarill, and then I'm able to just kind of clear out the way with Dugtrio. The other attacks I felt were pretty self-explanatory. Rock Slide is Rock Slide and does Rock Slide things, hopefully. Of course, it is a way to hit both Jumpluff and Dragonite super effectively as well, so I'm at least threatening damage onto those two ground immune Pokemon. Stomping Tantrum is in case I need to be going for ground type attacks, but I'm next to a Azumarill or something, or I had to Terastallize the Talonflame or Vivian or Altaria. Ideally, I'm never using that one, but it's just in case I'm in a scenario where I can't hit my partner. And then Sucker Punch, decent priority. Not necessarily a move you think of when you think of Dugtrio, I think a lot of the time. So maybe I'm going to be able to kind of snipe a KO on a low Pokemon if I don't have the speed advantage, or if she gets Tailwind up with Jumpluff or Trick Room up with Slowbro. I think it's a really good option to have there as well. Onto Azumarill, we are back to the kind of traditional huge power Azumarill set. The unique things here are going to be mostly on this page. It is Terra Flying. So I didn't think I necessarily needed a particular defensive terrestrialization type on this Azumarill. And again, I'm ideally using my Terra on Dugtrio all the time just to get that really strong earthquake damage. And I figured if I want this Azumarill to be able to function better next to Dugtrio, may as well go with Flying to make it immune to those earthquakes. So now I have Dugtrio plus 5 ground immune friends if I want to, which I think is a kind of fun strategy here. It is Lumberry. I figured maybe Ninetales has Will-O-Wisp, maybe Houndoom has Will-O-Wisp. Of course, Jumpluff and Amoonguss can both put it to sleep. I didn't necessarily think I needed another item there. I considered Expert Belt, but I think the Ice Spitter damage is going to be fine into all of those Pokemon regardless. I couldn't really think of something else there, so I just went with Lumberry to kind of get around some possible spores or Will-O-Wisp, which I think was a good call. If Azumarill is facing down on Amoonguss, a couple Ice Spinners will do a lot of damage to it, and in the meantime, the Amoonguss, if it wants to Spore me, will waste a turn. If it wants to go for an attack, that means it's not going for Spore, and I'll take that. Play Rough, Ice Spitter, Aqua Jet was the moveset of choice here. Play Rough, I think I wanted to keep just because it's really solid coverage overall. If the Crabominable comes for some reason, Azumarill is my best answer into it, and then I can knock it out with Play Rough. It gives it something to hit the Houndoom. The combination of Ninetales and Gastrodon meant that I didn't necessarily want Liquidation. I did keep Aqua Jet just in case I needed that priority later on and the Gastrodon had been knocked out or it was for some reason just not on the field. Just again to have that option later on, but I think primarily I'm going to be using Ice Spitter and Play Rough here, and that last move is not necessarily the most important. Ice Spinner specifically, again, I was talking about I want things to be able to hit the Dragonite and Jumpluff for the Dugtrio, and Ice Spinner Azumarill is a great option there. Dragonite really struggles into Azumarill, and Jumpluff, I guess, could have something like Energy Ball or Seed Bomb to do a bit of damage to it, but Jumpluff doesn't have the best offenses, and I think I'm just max HP, max attack on this Azumarill, so I've got the bulk I need, and I'll be pretty good with that Ice Spinner into those two targets. Down to Hydreigon. I went with Terra Steel again. Again, just kind of felt like the best Terra type here. I definitely wanted something to resist those scale shots, and the options are like Steel or Fairy for the most part. And I thought Fairy was a little bit too punishable by something like Slowbro or Glamora, even Amoonguss with the Sludge Bomb. Steel was a little bit better because it gave me that Dragon resistance, still very strong into something like the Amoonguss and Jumpluff. Does make me weak to fire, which I don't know is the best in this case against Ninetales and Houndoom, but I think I was ready to sacrifice that because Hydreigon is so strong into those two otherwise that maybe it dissuades her from bringing them. Even if they are in Team Preview, it could scare them away in the battles, and so Terra Steel there just for the Dragonite resist. Of course, you do make yourself weak to ground in theory, but Levitate is still active when you have that terrestrialization, so still get that Dugtrio immunity and still get the immunity from the Gastrodon's Earth Power. Also resist rock attacks from Stonjourner. I was actually a little bit worried about Stonjourner if I couldn't get Dugtrio in on it, because I do have 3 Pokemon weak to flying, and if she did bring Stonjourner, it could do some pretty good damage with that Power Spot Rock Slide. And choice specs, again, it just kind of feels like the best set a lot of the time, especially on a team like Lu's that's a little bit on the slower end. I think the only things that naturally outspeed the Hydreigon here are Ninetales, Houndoom, Jumpluff, and all of those don't really scare me at all, and so I'm happy to just kind of sit around and throw out some really strong Draco Meteors or Dark Pulses. Flamethrower was here to possibly take advantage of the sun, maybe get some stronger damage into Amoonguss. Earth Power, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ground weak Pokemon on Lu's team, so a lot of the times that could be a pretty good option for consistent damage. Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, just the standards there on Hydreigon. And finally, Altaria is also brought for the first time alongside Dugtrio. They both make their debut here. Altaria's function here was disruption. So it is Terra Fairy with a Citrus Berry, going for a little bit of a bulky setup here. Looking at the attacks, I have both Will-O-Wisp and Haze. The ability is Cloud 9. So Cloud 9 will eliminate the effects of weather, as it says. That doesn't mean the sun goes away. The sun will still be, up. It doesn't get cleared off like something like, getting rid of the terrain or weather effect. The sun is still technically set up, but anything that relies on sun, like chlorophyll, like solar power, even just like the boosted fire type damage or weakened water type damage, is canceled out. Cloud9 I thought was a really nice option here. In case you did bring Jumpluff, I can shut off a chlorophyll. In case the sun goes up and I want to use Hurricane with Vivian, I can bring in Cloud9. It cancels the lowered accuracy of Hurricane in the sun, goes back to that neutral 70 plus the compound die, so I'm still likely hitting those Hurricanes. The Terra Fairy plus Haze plus Will-O-Wisp combo is specifically a annoyance to Dragonite. If I go for the Terra Fairy, that means the Scale Shots won't be doing too much damage. I don't think Dragonite has too many options to hit the Altaria outside of Scale Shot before it terrestrializes. So if it gets those speed boosts going, I can go for the Terra Fairy, I can haze the speed boosts away. I have max Timid on the Altaria, so I'm likely outspeeding Dragonite after that haze, and then I can burn it if I need to. Haze also, just in case the Gastrodon gets a bunch of Storm Drain boosts from either the Drizzile or the Slowbro, I can probably try and take those away. Draco Meteor just for some damage here. I figured the combo of Draco Meteor and resetting the drops with Haze was a decent possibility to get Altaria doing a little bit of chip damage. Haze also combos very well with my Specs Hydreigon. I am not timid on this Hydreigon. I am modest and 1 point slower than my own Altaria. So that means if I use Draco Meteor with my Hydreigon and I have Altaria on the field next to it, the following turn I can go for Haze, reset those Draco Meteor special attack drops, and get another full power Draco Meteor off. So that's another reason I went for the max speed on Altaria, just to keep Hydreigon as fast as possible while maintaining that combination. And that's the team. Again, I am hoping to get a lot of mileage out of Dugtrio here, both the Arena Trap and just the damage from this Choice Band, Terra Ground, Earthquakes. The Dragonite, I think, is going to be the main thing that can stop that. I expect something like Slowbro to be Terra Grass. It's pretty good into my team. Azumarill and Dugtrio have a decent, or a little bit of a difficult time against those grass types. And of course, I imagine she recognizes Dugtrio as a threat here too, so she'll probably be trying to bolster herself against that. So if I get the Dugtrio going, without Trick Room going up, I think I'm in a pretty good spot. If Trick Room does go up, I think I do have the tools to kind of move through it. That Lumberry Azumarill is going to be really important. The Gastrodon, it's got to be, if the Gastrodon and Slowbro are both there, would be shocked if it wasn't like Surf Slowbro just to get that Storm Drain boost. And the Slowbro will be slower than the Gastrodon and Trick Room as well. So pretty good combo, but I think Azumarill particularly is going to be a decent way to get through that. And of course the Hydreigon resists as well. So got some good options here. I feel good about the matchup, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Let's jump into the battle. Okay, battle time. Very curious to see how she decided to build hers. I could see arguments for both bringing the Sun mode and not bringing it. So depending on if the Ninetales Houndoom comes, it kind of informs how I'm going to play this, but let's figure that out. You're ready to go. I'll send her my Terra types as soon as we hit Team Preview, and then we'll find out. Love to flip our mini losing streak, only 2, but always nice to have a little bit more positive momentum. Dugtrio, I think, could be really good here, especially... I guess Dugtrio is great if she did bring the Sun Mode, because it just traps them, and then they're stuck, and they get earthquaked. But even without, I think it's very possible to pull out a win here. All right, we have exchanged Terra types, so I guess I can see her team now before you can. But I'll wait for Team Preview to talk about them. Let's see. All right. I don't want to spoil anything just yet, but I think we're in like an okay spot here. All right. Here we go. Jumping right into team preview. So she does have the Ninetales Houndoom alongside Slowbro, Gastrodon, Dragonite, Amoonguss. The like Slowbro, Gastrodon, probably some kind of like Surf Spam, or at least Surf Slowbro plus the Storm Drain Gastrodon. It is Terra Water Gastrodon, which means it's probably pretty offensive. It's also, so it's Grass Slowbro, Fire Dragonite, Fairy Houndoom, Fire Ninetales, Water Amoonguss. So not stuff we're too surprised to see. That does mean that Dugtrio Talonflame is a pretty strong lead. I can Will-O-Wisp the Dragonite if I need to, otherwise Dugtrio just kind of earthquakes everything. The Slowbro being grass is actually great, because if it terrestrializes to try and avoid earthquake damage, I can just Brave Bird it for a knockout. Water Gastrodon strikes me as like Choice Specs or Life Orb or something, so I do have to worry a little bit about that. But I think I'm going to be okay. What else should I bring here is the thing. I do like Azumarill a lot, especially if Trick Room goes up. I do have the Lumberry to try and dodge a Spore from Amoonguss. Let's see. I think it's Hydreigon. Yeah, I like Hydreigon here. Mostly to have a little bit more insurance against the Houndoom Ninetales mode. It's Steel in case I need to take on the Dragonite head on. Hopefully just going for that Steel Terra into the possible Dragon moves will be enough. Will-O-Wisp on Talonflame will be nice for Dragonite too. The Dragonite could be slightly problematic if I let it get like a Scale Shot or two. But with this lead, I'm pretty happy. The Slowbro obviously cannot swap out. I'm not sure if I should go for a Will-O-Wisp into Dragonite or try and KO the Slowbro guaranteed. I think I would... Man. I actually think it might be better to go straight to a Azumarill and then just try and go for KO on Slowbro. I could Stomping Tantrum. Yeah, I just don't want to have a situation where I'm getting kind of screwed by the like Surf Spam. So I think this is actually safer. I bring Dugtrio back, preserve it for later. I taunt this Slowbro, and assuming it's not Mental Herb, which it very well could be, I will be able to prevent it from getting Trick Room up. Extreme Speed, though, oh, that doesn't even... That just tickles. Okay, I think we're good. Taunt here, so there's going to be no Trick Room. Hopefully, no Mental Herb. Well, good to know. This is kind of okay, though. Like, you have to imagine Gastrodon comes in. Man. One more Extreme Speed won't KO Talonflame, but pretty much anything else probably will. I kind of want to go straight for the Ice Spinner into Dragonite. It'll do a lot of damage and get some damage onto Gastrodon as well, which I do have to worry about a little bit in Trick Room. We do get the option to swap out Talonflame, which I think might be better, but there's just not really a great swap here. So I'm actually just going to try and get damage here. That's what I think my best play is. Shell Sidearm, yeah, into Azumarill. Does a decent chunk. Does Poison, which I guess I can use my Lumberry on, but I would have rather used that on the Spore if I needed to. We will see if it is multi-scale here. I'm guessing it is. Yeah, that has to be multi-scale, I think. a Scale Shot comes through and it will KO the Talonflame. I don't mind that, because actually now my Hydreigon will be slower than Dragonite in Trick Room, so I get the chance to go for like a Dark Pulse or something if I need to. Don't mind that at all. It's actually a decent spot for the Terra Steel Hydreigon to be in. I can pretty easily go for something like a Terra Steel and maybe Dark Pulse to Slowbro, which would be a good way to get rid of damage from Gastrodon and also not take damage from the Dragonite. I'm very tempted to do that just because I would hopefully clear out a little bit more space for me. And then I can protect the Azumarill. I don't want to take another Shell Sidearm if I don't have to. A little bit concerned now. Maybe I'm placing too much fear into this Gastrodon, I don't know. I just think it's unironically a pretty scary threat right now, especially in the Trick Room. But I don't think it's unsalvageable. We do get the Terra Steel off. I mean, Slowbro is not terrestrializing. Don't think it's protecting either. I get the Protect off with the Azumarill. It's going to be a Shell Sidearm, so no damage from Slowbro guaranteed. That's really nice. I think this is going to be a good turn. As long as the Dragonite doesn't go for, like, Low Kick or Fire Blast into Hydreigon or something crazy. We do get the knockout on Slowbro, so that's really nice. Only 2 turns of Trick Room remaining. Scale Shot, that's totally fine. I'm very happy with this. Resisting the Scale Shot is huge here. Now, of course, the Dragonite is at +2 speed. Not sure that the difference between 1 and 2 matters too much. We do just have to deal with Trick Room for at least one more turn, though. So I'm a little worried about that. I only have a Azumarill that can protect. And I really should have gone for the Will-O-Wisp that first turn. That would have been really nice. Lesson for game 2. Because if I was able to Will-O-Wisp that Dragonite, the Ice Spinner would have knocked it out. I wouldn't have lost Talonflame, I don't think. Neither here nor there, though. I've got some options. I wonder if she just didn't bring the Gastrodon. Like, I would have expected that to come out right here. Amoonguss. Okay. This is actually pretty okay. She can only Spore one thing, and the other thing knocks out the Dragonite. So I don't mind this at all. What are her Terras? It's Water Amoonguss and Fire Dragonite. Alright. I mean, obviously just Dark Pulse here. I actually just think I double target the Amoonguss. I do kind of have to care about Dragonite. That's the only annoying thing. I am going to double the Dragonite. I'm assuming that whatever happens is going to get redirected, but we'll see what happens. Dragonite swaps out. So Dark Pulse Ice Spinner is going into this slot. It's going to be Gastrodon. I actually don't hate this position all of a sudden. Spore comes through into the Hydreigon. That's totally fine. I'll get an Ice Spinner off into Gastrodon, which should do some pretty good damage. Hopefully put it in Choice Band Earthquake range. That might be close. Hydreigon's fast asleep. We love to see... Well, we don't love to see that, but I actually think that was a better thing to be put to sleep for me. This should be the last turn of Trick Room, so I'm obviously just going to protect the Azumarill, and then try and get some damage into Amoonguss with a Dark Pulse. That might be play rough range for the Gastrodon. A Dark Pulse from Hydreigon probably puts Amoonguss in range for something. There's a non-zero chance that the Gastrodon is like Specs or something again and can just knock out the Hydreigon from here. I'm hoping that's not the case, but this is going to be... Something's terrestrializing. It's going to be Terra Water. It's Gastrodon. Yeah, so I wonder if this is like Terra Water, Specs Muddy Water or something, which probably would knock out the Gastrodon. Or the Hydreigon, excuse me. Protecting Azumarill for that last turn of Trick Room, so we can attack first next turn. Muddy Water does come through. A miss would be lovely. Nope. So this almost definitely will knock out the Hydreigon here. And now I do have to... Oh, it doesn't. Okay. That's huge. Oh, that's really big. If I wake up here or the next turn, I am in a much better spot than I might have anticipated. Not this turn yet, but I have one more shot. Ooh. This could get tricky. What do I need to do here? I think I need to knock out Gastrodon if I can. And then I'll just go for Ice Spinner into Amoonguss for Dugtrio. I think that's probably the play. Dark Pulse. This is tight. Rage Powder, understandable. If we get the Wake here, I'm very happy. No Wake just yet. So Gastrodon will get the chance to Muddy Water. I do get the Ice Spinner off here. That could be really important for Dugtrio damage. It is Citrus Berry, understandable. I'm going to have to lock into Rock Slide with Dugtrio, which I don't love, but it's our only option. Oh, something missed. Okay. I would have probably preferred the Hydreigon, but I'll take it. I guess it's... We're like guaranteeing that we don't get the Muddy Water accuracy drop. Yeah, this I think I have to Rock Slide here, don't I? Unless Stomping Tantrum KOs the Amoonguss. There's like a chance it does. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Actually, no, I don't think I have time. I don't want to time out. Choice Band, Stomping Tantrum. I don't think that KOs, unfortunately. So I think I have to go for Rock Slide here. Hope we get a flinch on the Gastrodon or another Muddy Water miss. And then I can Ice Spinner the Amoonguss for a knockout. This is tough. Stomping Tantrum. I really don't think it'll KO Amoonguss. Even with the Choice Band, that thing's bulky. I gotta go for the Rock Slide and just Ice Spinner the Amoonguss. Oh no, she protected. I could have play roughed the Gastrodon. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So it's not Specs. I guess we probably knew that from the damage into Hydreigon. We don't know what the item is, I suppose, but maybe we'll find that out later on. Yeah, again, this is just a little bit difficult here. I unfortunately feel like I might need to, again, just get that Rock Slide miss, which I don't love relying on. Or Rock Slide flinch, or Muddy Water miss. But we'll see. If anything but Dragonite was in the back, I would happily lock into Stomping Tantrum here. She didn't even Rage Powder. Yeah, so we just need either the flinch or the miss into Gastrodon at this point. Ooh, this is gonna be tight. Please don't hit Dugtrio. Oh! Oh, Lou, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. That is very lucky. Since it's not Choice Band Dragonite, I really doubt Extreme Speed will be able to knock out the Dugtrio. It might knock out the Azumarill. This is still a little bit of a 50-50. We know she has Extreme Speed. I could protect Azumarill, go for the Rock Slide, assume Dugtrio doesn't get knocked out straight up, and then let Azumarill finish Gastrodon off. Or I could attack with Azumarill. I mean, obviously I'm Rock Sliding here. This is just the only question mark. If she protects Dragonite, then attacking with Azumarill is the right play. I'm gonna do it. Okay. Come on. Just one more play rough. Please connect. Oh dear God. Oh, that pause is always so terrifying. Okay. I feel like we stole that game a little bit, but I am okay with that. Oh man. Muddy Water is a very, very high risk, high reward move. It is very good when it works. It can be very disappointing when it doesn't, and unfortunately for Lou, fortunately for me. It didn't happen to work into the Dugtrio that time. Oof, I was scared of that Gastrodon. I think rightfully so. I do probably need to be a little bit more wary of it this time around. Knowing the Slowbro is Mental Herb is very nice. That can kind of change up how I approach this match. I honestly don't even know if I need Talonflame anymore because of that, which could free me up to bring something like that Vivian. If I do bring the Vivian, I do worry slightly about the Sun mode, but I don't know if I need to worry like fully about it. We use the same team, obviously. I wonder if like Dugtrio Hydreigon is the play for the leads. Excuse me. Azumarill comes no matter what. I'm very happy with Azumarill in this matchup. It works both defensively and offensively. I think Hydreigon is really solid. I'm pretty sure I made it faster than Jolly Dragonite. I would be a little bit foolish if I didn't do that. So, I'm going to be good with that. I think Dugtrio Hydreigon, I probably have a guaranteed knockout on that Slowbro, which would be nice for getting, or making sure Trick Room doesn't go up. I think I am going to bring this Vivian, especially because Amoonguss gets hit by Hurricane. I have Energy Ball for the Gastrodon. Although there might be merit in bringing it first. To threaten some Sleep Powders. Or, again, kind of combo with the Dugtrio. No, I think Hydreigon's better, though. But I'm still going to bring it. I am, like, fully indexing in no Sun mode with this set of leads. I guess I'm not fully, because the Dugtrio still is very strong. But, like, Vivian makes me much weaker to those fire types than Talonflame does. So if we can get the Dugtrio in on those fire types with this guaranteed speed advantage, I'm actually pretty happy. It's Fire Ninetales, Fairy Houndoom, so that will be pretty fine for Dugtrio. It is Amoonguss Slowbro. I am okay with that. I think I just kind of go straight for that Choice Band Earthquake. I might even go like Terra Ground Earthquake here. No, I actually don't think that's smart. I think the combination of Choice Band Earthquake and a Dark Pulse probably KOs the Amoonguss. And that's the one I need to be knocked out immediately. Slipper Amoonguss. Vivian would have been great here, huh? Do I need Terra for anything else? I honestly don't think I do. I'm just going to go for it. And then Dark Pulse. I'd rather knock out the Amoonguss here, I think. Wouldn't be surprised if the Slowbro terrestrializes. But we shall see. I'm honestly a little curious as to how much this will do to Amoonguss. I'm hoping Earthquake Dark Pulse knocks it out. It would be pretty bad if it didn't, huh? She can't swap. That's the nice thing here. Again, Arena Trap will keep both of these things locked on the field. It is that Slowbro, so Terra Grass. Makes sense. This means Trick Room almost definitely goes up here. Not almost definitely. It definitely does because I targeted the Amoonguss. Which isn't too big of a deal because I do have the Dark Pulse. And I have the Hydreigon to help me deal with that Gastrodon. Dark on Earthquake. See how much this does to the Amoonguss. Oh, that's why. I was going to say, there's no shot that KOs, but that'll do it. Again, another kind of stroke of luck here. Dark Pulse into Slowbro. Do we get a flinch? No, that's totally fine. That is really nice. That is a great Trick Room there. I have to imagine Gastrodon comes in. I guess I could see the Hydreigon actually because, or the Dragonite actually, because the Trick Room will mean it attacks first, but it is Gastrodon. I don't necessarily fear for the Gastrodon or the Hydreigon on this turn. I will certainly be swapping out Dugtrio into Azumarill. And I think I want to just go for a Dark Pulse into the Gastrodon, get that damage. Slowbro is probably in Sucker Punch range now from Dugtrio, which is nice. It's something that obviously I haven't revealed yet on the Dugtrio and could come in handy for like a late game KO. I do have that Vivillon in the back as well, which hopefully will give me a chance to... Oh, I should have gone for the Dark Pulse into Slowbro, shouldn't I? Just to eliminate that. Yeah, a little bit of a misstep there, I think, but it should be fine. I think I'm fine. That's 0. Muddy Water comes through, yep. Wait, is she not Storm Drain? Wait, yes, she was. Did I just not see that happen? Oh, she is, okay. It just like wasn't paying attention enough. Okay, definitely protecting Azumarill here. I'm going to try and go for the Dark Pulse into Slowbro this time to get her down to her final 2 Pokemon. I guess I could have gone for Gastrodon. I think this is probably the better play, though. Shell Sidearm will whiff into Azumarill and goes for Ice Beam. I might survive this. No. That's not a big deal, because I do have the Sucker Punch on my Dugtrio. And I can just play Rough the Gastrodon for a knockout here. I think there's 2 more turns of Trick Room, maybe 3. It's probably 2. Let me check real quick. Yeah, so it's this turn and the next. I play Rough the Gastrodon, and I Sucker Punch the Slowbro. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know that I have a better play anyway. The Sucker Punch guarantees no Shell Sidearm, and I don't think Gastrodon could knock out a Azumarill from here in any scenario without a crit, which did happen earlier with a Ground type move. But I think this is a pretty solid pin. If again, she can't swap out. Arena Trap is doing a lot of work here. I have the Vivillon in the back, which will do decently out of Trick Room. Gastrodon protects, so surely this is an attack from Slowbro, right? Like, she wouldn't have done that otherwise. Yeah, okay, awesome. Slowbro does get knocked out by the Sucker Punch. If it is Dragonite in the back, I am in a very solid position. I don't necessarily fear it with my Azumarill. I don't think it's certainly not a guaranteed win at all from this point. But I'm happy with this spot. Azumarill is really not threatened at all. She did Terrestrialize, so I think Ice Spinner, Dragonite, and Sucker Punch Gastrodon is the play here. She might just like Scale Shot the Dugtrio, in which case, fair play. I actually wonder if it might be better to just guarantee the KO and Gastrodon with a Play Rough or something. That actually... Yeah, that's better. Oh, no. I want to get rid of Dragonite. Yeah. I'm Dragonite. Okay. Because if I get rid of Dragonite, then Vivillon just comes in and Energy Balls. So I'm just going to double Dragonite. If she does Extreme Speed, that's fine. She doesn't know, which is great. So as long as Azumarill survives this Earth Power, or doesn't get accuracy dropped with Muddy Water, and miss the Ice Spinner, will be good. Does double connect this time around. Sucker Punch to break the multi-scale is great. If she did go for Extreme Speed, she would have gotten a little bit of damage on me, which would have been slightly unfortunate. Looks like no accuracy drop, so we're good. Ice Spinner goes into Dragonite. We'll get the KO with that broken multi-scale. And I believe this is the last turn of Trick Room, so I will get to bring in my Vivillon. I'll reveal Energy Ball, why not? Show her my one little tech for her multiple water/rock type Pokemon. Unfortunately, should be looking like we're taking this game. We're gonna pretend that one was there this entire game, because it totally was, and you don't know what I'm talking about. Energy Ball for the knockout into Gastrodon. We'll seal up a win for me and the 5-move Volcaronas. Of course, did get fortunate a little bit throughout this set, specifically that Muddy Water miss into the Dugtrio, and I'm happy to take that luck. Of course, it is quite unfortunate if you're Lou, but you know, Muddy Water giveth and taketh away. The Earthquake crit into Amoonguss, obviously very nice as well. But I don't know. It's hard to say how that game would have gone. I think that crit kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. Setting up Trick Room without the Amoonguss entirely just limited her options a lot. she put herself in spots where she could have won both of those games. But I will take the win. We're turning around our season. We're back up to an even 500, 2-2 record with the 5-move Volcaronas after week 4. Excited to kind of close out the season. We got 3 more matches through the regular season, and then hopefully we'll qualify for playoffs. But 1 week at a time. Thanks for watching.